you ever wondered what it feels like to have your story told mostly from someone else's perspective? Today, we pause for a quick moment of reflection on Bathsheba, a woman often remembered for a scandal but rarely understood for her strength. Bathsheba first appears in scripture in a moment she did not create. She is seen, desired, and taken by King David. In a single chapter, her life turns upside down. She becomes pregnant, and her husband Uriah is deliberately placed in harm's way and eliminated. And she is brought into the palace as David's wife. And just like that, her name becomes associated with one of the Bible's most difficult stories. But let's pause here, because Bathsheba's story is deeper than the headline. The Bible does not record her voice in that moment. No defense, no explanation, just silence. And sometimes silence in scripture is not weakness, it is weight, and it calls for a closer look. Bathsheba was a woman caught in the process of power, decisions made above her, a system she had no control over. Yet her story did not end there. After the loss of her child, a grief no mother can easily recover from, Bathsheba remains in the narrative, and this is where we begin to see her transformation. She is no longer just a passive figure in a painful story. She becomes intentional, and years later, when the throne of Israel was at stake, Bathsheba steps forward with wisdom and courage. She reminds David of his promise to her that her son Solomon would be king. She speaks, she acts, she influences, and because of that moment, Solomon ascends the throne. Think about that. This woman, once identified by a scandal, becomes instrumental in securing the lineage of kings, and ultimately part of the lineage through which history changed forever. Bathsheba's life teaches us something very powerful. Your worst chapter does not get the final say in your story. Bathsheba moved from being seen to being heard, from being used in the moment to being purposeful over time, from silence to influence. And maybe that's where this reflection makes us today. Have you ever been defined by something you didn't choose, misunderstood, reduced to one moment? Because Bathsheba's life reminds us that God is not limited to the version of you people talk about. He walks through broken timelines, painful beginnings, complicated stories. And for Bathsheba's life and time, it whispers a quiet truth. There is still purpose after the pain. There is still influence after the silence. And there is still a future beyond the mistake, even if it wasn't yours. So today, don't rush past Bathsheba's story. Sit with it. Because in her journey, we don't just see a woman connected to a king. We see a woman who, despite everything, rose into significance. And that might just be your story too. So I'd like you to reflect on this week. That beyond the pain, there is purpose for each and every one of us, no matter how painful our beginning must have been. Thank you for staying with me on this edition of Quick Moment of Reflection. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed doing it with you. I'll see you again next Sunday. Until then, grow, glow, and go higher. Bye.